G'day guys and welcome to this A-League edition of Beyond the 90. Well, we start off with a fantastic news coming out of Australia and out of Asia. Congratulations to the Western Sydney Wanderers, the new Asian Champions League winners. They played absolutely fantastic against Al Hilal with Ante Kovic pulling off a fantastic save against the Giants, Al Hilal, and really stopping them from scoring at home. They did really well, winning on 1-0 on aggregate in their finals campaign, and good on them. And for all Australians to wish them fantastic, because they did really well representing us on the Asian stage and bringing that trophy home to Australia for the first time. However, the game did end in a little bit of controversy with a spitting allegation by one of the Al Hilal players that ended up in a brawl. But however, not to take anything away from Western Sydney Wanderers, they were absolutely fantastic throughout the Asian Champions League campaign and did really, really well. So good on them, and hopefully now they can turn around their A-League form, because they have been rather disappointing in the A-League. Now that they've got the Champions League out the way, they should be able to turn that around. In other news, David Villa has left us. Yes, in Melbourne City's 2-1 defeat to Adelaide United last round. We do not get to see the Spanish superstar anymore. He has flown back to New York to train under his parent club, New York City FC. As for now, who will be Melbourne City's marquee player, we are yet to find out. However, they are linked to Joshua Kennedy and Timmy Cahill. So we will give you more news as that comes out. Now I'm going to give you a preview of round 5 of the Hyundai A-League, giving you all my tips on who I think will win the upcoming games. The first game of the round sees Wellington Phoenix host the Western Sydney Wanderers. Now, Wellington have been absolutely fantastic away. Their home form, however, has been a little bit shaky, and they're coming up against a side that is in absolute awe at the moment. Western Sydney, the Asian champions, should be able to continue their impressive form, and they'll want to start that now in the A-League. They have slipped up in the first couple of games, playing a little bit horror football, and they will want to turn that around now. They have been able to play to get everyone ready for that Asian Champions League. They have had a lot of time off from the A-League, so they should be able to turn that around this week. And I do feel that they will take their run of form in the Champions League and make that into their purple patch in the A-League. And they should be able to get over this Wellington side only because they are on top of the world at the moment. So Western Sydney to win that game 1 or 2-0. The next game sees Adelaide United host Sydney FC. Adelaide have been very strong as of late. They have been absolutely fantastic, and they're coming up against the Sydney side, who have been equally as strong, if not stronger than them. So this game is a really, really good game. It's going to be a battle of who can really control the ball and hold off the attacking prowess of each other. For me, I think Adelaide have been fantastic at home, and I feel that they should be able to continue their home run of form going, and they should get over this Sydney FC side. However, Sydney have been playing fantastic, so it wouldn't surprise me if this game ends up in a draw. The next game sees Newcastle United Jets host the Melbourne Victory. Now, Melbourne Victory have been absolutely fantastic as of late. They have got a few key injuries, with Del Pierre and Beresap Barisha being out for an indefinite period, both with different injuries that they picked up in the FFA Cup clash against Perth. So Newcastle should really strike while the iron is hot. They were a little bit disappointing last round, getting 1-0 up against Perth away and then letting it slip to a 2-1 defeat. So they will want to turn their form around, and they have the perfect opportunity to do so against the Melbourne Victory side with a few key injuries. So for me, I do feel that this game will end in a draw, but I do feel that also Melbourne Victory have got a lot of depth in their squad, and they should be able to turn their injured players and not worry too much, and should be able to keep their form going and get a victory over this really disappointing Newcastle Jets side. The next game sees a struggling Brisbane Roar against a struggling Melbourne City. Now, Brisbane Roar have been really, really disappointing coming into this A-League campaign. We expect the champions to always do well when they come back in, but Brisbane have been absolutely disappointing, and they should be able to turn it around against a Melbourne City side who I believe have not lived up to any expectations. Brisbane have been able to have the week off with that bye with against their Western Sydney game. So they have had a lot of time to regroup. They have had a lot of time to focus on this Melbourne City side. As for Melbourne City, I feel that the loss of David Villa is really going to affect the way they play at the moment. And I don't feel that they have anything to offer against this Brisbane Roar side. So Brisbane should be able to strike a very disappointing Melbourne City side and get their first victory of the Hyundai A-League campaign. So I'm going to give that game to Brisbane quite comfortably. And the final game of the round sees a Central Coast Mariners side host a fantastic Perth Glory side. Central Coast have been really sort of mediocre as of late. They're just sort of sitting mid-table, getting one win next week and then a loss the next week. They just can't get any consistency into their games. But they're coming up against a Perth side who have been more than consistent. They have been absolutely fantastic. Perth Glory have been brilliant. We had a bit of a super sub last week against the Newcastle Jets with James McLaren coming on and scoring a double to give them the victory. But I do feel that they will be far too strong against this Central Coast Mariners side, and they should be able to get all 3 points and keep their run at the top going. So for me, I think Perth will do very well in that game, and I'm going to give them all 3 points. Well, that's all we've got time for in this A-League edition of Beyond the 90. Again, a fantastic work by the Western Sydney Wanderers, and congratulations to the new Asian champions. And hopefully they can turn around their A-League form. But for everyone else, good luck to your A-League side. Hopefully they do well. Always remember you can keep up to date with my blogs at www.beyondthe90.net and follow me on Twitter at @Alex_Alleman. The Hyundai A-League has given us a lot of fantastic football as of late, and I expect it to do the same as we head into round 5. And I will be back here next week giving you the wrap-up of round 5 and a preview of round 6. Thanks, guys, and I will see you next week.